This is URD's crank pulley, their lightweight crank pulley. They label it as their super grip crank pulley because of these notches in here to grip what is essentially the alternator belt, but looping that into the supercharger. So gripping the belt extra good. This is 2 pounds versus 10 pounds, so the rotational mass lost is essentially around a 20 horsepower gain, apparently. Of course, there's holes drilled throughout it there around the edges for some weight savings, and on the back side too. I didn't really notice at first glance, especially while shopping online, that they don't pass all the way through. I mean, that's, how could they, right? It'd run right through the actual, like, the teeth there, or the ribs there. But what I did notice while holding this in the sunlight the other day is that the super grip not only has this little notch into it for an edge to grab onto, but it actually introduces a little air vent. And so each one of these little holes pocketed into the crank pulley is actually a little vent. I don't know if you can kind of see the light. Yeah, kind of. You can see it glowing in through there. And so, yeah, this actually lets lets the belt breathe at the hottest point at the bottom of the engine, which is such a cool, clever concept. So I kind of wanted to show that before getting it mounted into the car here. The 4Runner is having some problems, but that's fine because it's the ring and pinion, and I wanted to swap a first-gen Tundra housing in the rear end so I could match the front width and also be a little stronger too. So it's kind of like I should say I'm looking for the silver lining right now by with the rear gears going out. So it's been sitting in the driveway and I'm just waiting for parts to collect. I'm gonna have a shop do all the fab work, do a 3-link long travel setup on the rear and any other accompanying mods and stuff like that. It's gonna be badass and when it's all said and done. But since it's been sitting in the driveway, I decided to install the lightweight crank hub from Underdog Performance, URD, or Underdog Racing, whatever. But that said, when the engine's warmed up and when the fan clutch is disengaged, it does not feel like there is any more peppiness or like throttle response. It's supposed to be like a simulated 20 horsepower. Kind of drove around the neighborhood a little bit. Can't do high speed or anything like that. But when it came to just like throttle response, just like getting back on the throttle, it didn't really seem any different. Maybe long term, I might notice a little bit of a difference, but to be honest, it just isn't, in my opinion, worth it. 20 horsepower should be enough to notice, and if it's right off the, all the accessories and everything, like right off the crank, it should be a little peppier, in my opinion. But and anyways, yeah, I didn't think it was worth it, but let's go ahead and check it out. It looks pretty. Theoretically should, make the belts a little happier with it being able to be with little cooling fins, the little cooling vents that are in the side of the pulley, and it looks cool. Not worth the money, in my opinion, just because of the lack of overall performance. I can't tell. Maybe on a dyno, maybe 20 horsepower is not enough to tell. So whatever. Unless you're building a race truck and you're trying to extract every bit of power. Not really worth it, but it's worth trying it out. Alrighty guys, take care.